Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, to my returning subscribers. If you are new here, what's up then? Hit that subscribe button, come on in, have a seat. Here we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves. So with that in mind, I am coming to you guys once more with another celebrity synastry reading, this time on none other than Miss Aoki Simmons and Russell Simmons. So in a nutshell, Aoki Simmons is the daughter of Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons is this really big mogul in hip hop. I believe he is the brother of Rev Run. You know, the dude who's built like Mr. Krabs without the shell, and he sits in the bathtub and he tweets prayers and shit like all day long. Him, that's his brother, okay? And apparently Russell Simmons has had a very long standing run just within the hip hop industry. He's started clothing labels like Fat Farm and just a bunch of other stuff, right? So he's very well known, very much well known. And his children are giving like nepotism baby, kind of, sort of, okay? So once upon a time, he was married to Kimora Lee Simmons, who is a model, world-renowned model, okay? An absolute beauty. And of course, most people know how that goes. It was a very sketchy marriage. It was giving child bride, all right? She was a child bride. This man was a very old man. But nonetheless, their union bore 2 children, Aoki and then her sister, okay? Now, Russell and Kimora were together for about 11 years, and then they broke up or divorced, whatever. And up until now, seemingly had like a functional relationship. Well, as of recently, Aoki and Kimora have pretty much exposed Russell, okay? Put him on Front Street. They're saying that he is a mean, evil old man. Aoki is very vocal about just how much her relationship with her father has deteriorated, really. She describes him as being abusive, inserting her in the middle of like the drama that he has with her mother and just a bunch of other stuff, right? She even screen recorded him during the FaceTime. He was yelling and screaming and hooping and hollering and all this other stuff. So she's getting backlash for that. You know, a lot of people are talking about that. Everybody got their opinions on that. Y'all drop down in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all think of this whole situation, all right? Aoki is a young adult. I believe she's like, 20, 21, something of that nature. So, I mean, yeah, this is the first time we're hearing her speaking publicly about her father, okay? So I thought that this would be a really good opportunity to do a synastry reading on the two to see if their synastry reflects her claims and to just get an overall feel of the nature of their relationship, because that's what synastry readings are for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. So on one hand, we have Aoki, who was born on August 16th, 2002 in New York. And then her father, Russell Simmons, who was born in Queens, New York, October 4th, 1957. Damn, this nigga old. Now, right off bat, just looking at Aoki's chart alone, she has her sun at the 25th degree of Leo conjoined to Mars. And this conjunction here could be symbolic of quite a few things. Number one, it could deal with having a famous father, a father whose name is very like reputable or large in the entertainment community or the entertainment business, if you will. Leo does rule entertainment, okay? And even like a lot of her name could come from her father. A lot of her likeness and image comes from her father. That's very Sun Mars conjunction in Leo. But at the same time, this could also be an aspect that could be very indicative of an adversarial relationship with the father. And it could give the father a lot of those I would even say more narcissistic kind of traits. And I use this word begrudgingly because I feel like you nigglets done fucked it up. Y'all have weaponized psychology terms and just start saying shit. Because, like, every person y'all don't like is a narcissist. And I need, like, something needs to be done. Compliments of this Scorpio South Node transit. Like, everybody's weaponizing psychology now. But anywho, I digress. But if we're just being true to the archetype, the lower polarity of Leo, okay, archetypically, we're talking narcissism. And this Sun-Mars conjunction actually can magnify that. It can point to where Russell views her as an extension of himself, his children as an extension of himself. It could point to where he's pushy, overbearing, okay? So all of the things in which she described him, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she may have just flat out called him a narcissist as well. But once again, the Sun-Mars conjunction in Leo could be very on brand. It could deal with a lot of conflict, headbutting. It could bring about a lot of power struggles, issues with ego, pride, right? Having a father that's too proud to admit certain things, especially when it comes to admitting you're wrong. The lower polarity of Leo could be actually very, very nasty. Very nasty, very inconsiderate. Also very selfish. When we talk about the sun conjoined to Mars in Leo at that. So, and violent. And of course, violence takes on different forms, but we just got to call a spade a spade. And it's very interesting because this juxtaposes Russell's image as like this cool, zen, chill, I do yoga ass nigga. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not surprised with him being a Libra. Libra is the sign of PR. And it's due to the Venus rulership where a lot of Libras like to be like the good guy or the good girl, or at least like to appear that way, right? It's all about appearance, appearing more refined or more polished or more like upstanding, right? Always being on the correct side of things. But behind closed doors, some of these folks be the worst ones. True tea. Now, another characteristic that comes along with this Leo archetype would be childishness. And this is because Leo, as does the sun, because the sun is actually dignified in Leo, does deal with children. So a lot of times the father could be very childlike themselves. And this is also going to be magnified once again with that Sun-Mars conjunction, because it could produce a father who not only is just like super childish, but it's like aggressive, and it's like their way is the only way. And they carry that kind of self-centeredness that most children do. And when they don't get their way, they're actually not above throwing a temper tantrum. It's just that in adult form, those temper tantrums could actually be violent, hence the Sun-Mars conjunction, or very just like intimidating. Leo can rule intimidation. So I thought that this was very fitting, even with the girl dropping the screenshots or the screen recordings of her FaceTime with Russell. The man looked the fool. You could tell. You didn't even really have to hear the words coming out of his mouth. He was turning red, and he was just, and the camera, he was throwing a temper tantrum. It was giving Sun conjoined Mars and Leo. It was a temper tantrum. Now, to be fair, conjunctions can play out positively as well. And as I mentioned before, this could have benefited her, of course, in terms of her making a name for herself in the industry, using her father's name and likeness and all that good stuff. The father could also be very fun. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm not going to lie, this conjunction can actually make the father very difficult to deal with. And for a lot of people with Mars and Leo, naturally bumping heads or even just having issues or a very problematic or difficult relationship with the father or even their own children could be likely not gonna cap. And if she's not careful, she could find herself in a position where she's searching for her father in men, in other men, which is another hallmark of Mars and Leo. But getting into their actual synastry. Russell Saturn is forming a conjunction to Aoki's moon. This just so happens to be the tightest aspect between the two, which means it's going to be the most powerful and probably dominates the way that their relationship plays out. And this conjunction between Saturn and the moon in Sagittarius, from a synastry perspective, can point to a lack of emotional closeness, right? Where there is no real intimate connection. And a lot of times it's going to be due to the Saturn individual. So Russell, essentially, it could deal with where he could be cruel, where he could punish her. And honestly, because the moon also is reflective of our mother, aka the first feminine influence in our life. If the father, aka the son, is the first masculine, the moon is the first feminine influence in our lives. So this conjunction could actually even represent the way that Russell treats Kimura, or has treated Kimura. It could deal with where he's removed a lot of her freedom, and where he could even seek to censor the two. Okay, Saturn in Sagittarius is all about being punished for speaking the truth, flat out, or learning that there's going to be a penalty tied to either your freedom or, you speaking out for yourself. And the same thing could be true for Aoki and her mom. So, is there going to be hell to pay for them putting him on blast like this? Probably. Would it be something that's behind the scenes, which is also very symbolic of the moon? The moon rules the home. It deals with our private life, what happens behind closed doors. So you could look at this conjunction as further evidence of him being really a dick behind closed doors, or just really mean. And like I said, going out of his way to maybe punish them, or whatever the case may be. Okay. Or even control, where he could wield a lot of control over their lives. It kind of gives me, even intuitively, it feels like a father who feels like, even though they're divorced, right? He could be divorced from his spouse, but he feels like he has, or he should have, a say-so in how his ex-spouse runs their home and their household and their lives, even down to like where they choose to live. Okay, that could be very reflective of this conjunction also. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he used religion as a way to kind of keep them in line, in order to condition them and further program them. And this is even reflected in his response, because if I'm not mistaken, by the time I'm recording this, as of now, he's only responded publicly to Kimura and Aoki putting him on blast once. And in his response, he said some bullshit to the effect of like, the father sets the tone for the evolution of the... Every time he opens his mouth, it sounds like a bad fortune cookie. And you could tell he was trying to kind of like make it sound real like philosophical and shit, and like fake deep and fake woke and shit. And it gives me this conjunction, right? Where maybe he could even use that to try to like discipline them or keep them in line, take his world views and his like religious views and like impose them on her and her mother and her family and stuff like that. You gotta watch people like that. That's some real crafty shit. And I'm like, when did this man get like religious like that? But then I noticed he does have Sun conjoined to Jupiter in Libra. And Sun-Jupiter conjunctions can make a person hella religious anyway. But in the sign of Libra, it could create this effect to where he could be someone who's always trying to like push that off on other people. Okay, Libra rules other people. So it's like he may always be trying to get other people to believe in the same shit he believes in. And that's another reason why karmically he probably does have Saturn in Sagittarius, because these are people who may have to learn how to like open their worldview a bit, because Saturn places a lot of limitations on how you view religion and, you know, your own culture and whatever the case may be, your ideals. And so with Sun conjoined Jupiter in Libra, it's like, damn, nigga, everybody's not going to want to believe in the same shit that you believe in. You know, it gives me like, if he gets married to a woman, she's going to have to convert into whatever the fuck it is he does. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Or where he feels like he can like counsel people, right, on his religion. Or because, once again, Libra does deal with PR, maybe he could even use his religion and stuff like that as a front to kind of help him clean up his image. You know, Libra is very strategic, y'all. Y'all don't give Libras their ones for being uber strategic. So either way it goes, this man is a hot mess, but I digress. Back to their Synastry. Next, we have Aoki's Leo Sun squaring Russell's Venus in Scorpio. And this could actually deal with there being issues with child support. So where he could owe a lot of back money in child support, or where he could be indebted in some kind of way. I mean, that's just simply put. I think she mentioned something about him not giving her money, but I don't really know the details of that. But just based on this aspect alone, I can pretty much assure you that there are issues, or have been issues, I should say, in regards to, you know, him providing or paying that child support. So there's that. Now, her Saturn is at the 26th degree of Gemini, and it's squaring Russell's Mercury at the 26th degree of Virgo. This is an aspect that could deal with her blocking him. I think she even mentioned that she blocked him, or where she is the one who cuts off communication. And usually this could be when he gets into his like nitpicky mode, especially when he has, when you consider the fact that he has Mercury in Virgo. So that could be him like nagging at her, complaining, you know, picking at her, and then her just deciding like, I don't want to deal with this and just closing off to him. Or you could even look at this aspect as her just not talking to him in general, like not being receptive, her just completely shutting down, whether it be via blocking or just giving him the silent treatment, not, you know, even expressing like herself or what's on her mind. I think she mentioned she does have anxiety, or it got to a point where when she saw him call, she would get anxiety. That could be very much reflective of this aspect also. Now, her Venus is conjoined to Russell's Sun, okay, and even his Jupiter. So I will say that could deal with her getting money from him. But if we're talking about the involvement of Libra, maybe it's one of those things where, you know, lawsuits have to be filed. Legal action has to be taken. You know, kids can sue their parents for back child support, or really for whatever. But, you know, her getting mad enough to like sue her dad or something, is it plausible? I could see. And to be honest, you know, for what it's worth, Miss Sister Girl really eats his ass up, because she also has her Mars, that Mars and Leo squaring his Venus. Once again, being symbolic of like the child support thing with her Mars and Leo, but it could also just deal with where he may try like covert, underhanded tactics in order to, you know, like manipulate her or get her to do what he wants. And she ain't going for it. Where she, you know, is very headstrong herself. And actually with her Sun Mars conjunction, she may actually share a lot more in common with him than she does with her mom. And I don't mean that in the worst sense. I mean that in the sense, you know, because once again, conjunctions could play out more positively. So it could just be like where maybe she's a lot more outspoken, or maybe she's a lot more of, a lot more courageous. She has a lot more leadership qualities where she herself can make a name for herself in entertainment in her own right, or that kind of thing, right? Where she shares a lot of traits, the more bolder components of Russell's character, where she could kind of share that too. And that might be why he be on the phone hollering and screaming like that, because she ain't going for it. I don't mean to laugh, y'all. It's really not funny, but good for her. Good for her. Now, of course, in every relationship, there are going to be positive aspects, negative aspects. And I did say recently I was going to make a more conservative effort to share the positive. Megan, why you so negative? Megan, why you so negative? Well, gather round. She has her Saturn trining his moon. Her Saturn at that 26th of Gemini trining his Aquarius moon. That could also deal with like her coming up on like job opportunities, business opportunities, that kind of thing. And I thought about that with that Saturn moon conjunction as well. If his name was able to get her in certain spaces. And I guess using deductive reasoning, that's not outside of the realm of plausibility. But even when it came to her school, I believe she graduated from Harvard. Y'all feel free to fact check me in the comment section. But even with that Saturn moon conjunction, I don't know if like she was able to get in the door based on his name. I'm not saying that she's not intelligent. But you know how it goes, right? At least having those connections gets you in the door, and then your actual talent or your intellect keeps you there. So I have no doubt that she's able to keep herself there, but definitely I could see where her relationship with her father has paid off for her in regards to opportunities. Oh yeah, her Neptune, which is at the 9th degree of Aquarius, is forming a sextile to his Saturn at the 9th degree of Sagittarius. Yeah, she definitely got help getting into that school. But sure, I can definitely see that. Her Venus is sextiling his Saturn. So even though there may be moments, or there may have been a point in time where that child support money was kind of funny, that could still lead to a person, more so the Venus person, relying on the Saturn person to kind of help them out financially. Where she could have relied on him financially, very much so, where he could have taken her on trips and brought her gifts and all kinds of stuff. But all this is very typical of a father-daughter relationship. But back to the tea. We also have her Venus, once again, conjoined to his Libra sun and Jupiter. Now, aside from like the legal litigation aspect of this, another way that this resonates could also be the tendency to like overextend oneself. And that's another characteristic that comes with Libra. So like inserting themselves, where he could even feel like he can overextend and insert himself in a lot of things that she has going on, playing the middle person, or vice versa, him putting her in the middle. Libra is the liaison, which makes a lot of sense. So even with his sun, Jupiter conjunction, all right, conjoined to her Venus, where he kind of comes to her, and it could be like, whether it be for advice and, hey, go tell your mama this, go tell your mama that, where he could kind of overstep and put all that on her, and make her the go in between person. That actually makes all the sense in the world with this these Synastry hookups. And for obvious reasons, that's very problematic. And really, I'm glad she's expressing herself and really calling this out as a Gemini North Node, with her Neptune trining her North Node. Specifically with her Neptune at that 9th degree of Aquarius, it could speak to where it's easier for her to like utilize social media to like be able to articulate herself, and where I could even see her cultivating a following and things like that. Because That needs to be more of what she focuses on in this lifetime. Instead of getting all them damn degrees and just hanging her hat up on being like this super college, super well studied, smarty-arty kind of person. Because a lot of Gemini North nodes don't really have common sense. Even like they could get 12,000 degrees, graduate cum laude, boom tu laude, but they don't have it when it comes to like even real like life experience and being able to like articulate that into words and put that into words and express themselves. And I think even though this was like an unfortunate situation, you know what I'm saying, it's an illustration of how that trine could play out for her. And I mean, maybe she does that in other instances. I don't know. I don't follow her. Maybe she's somebody who's very expressive and active on social media and, you know, whatever. But I thought I should mention that. And then we also see some other aspects, like her Uranus squaring Russell's Venus. That could also give her like this strong sense of entitlement. I'm not even gonna lie, especially when it comes to her dad's money. Even when I'm thinking about her Leo Mars squaring his Venus, that could even create like a bratty component. And more than one thing could be true at once, y'all. Nobody is a villain 100% of the time in an encounter, and nobody is an angel 100% of the time. Specifically when we're talking about relationships, and especially parent-child relationships. Obviously, Russell Simmons is fucking trash for a lot of the things that he does, but I'm specifically speaking to the scope of his relationship with his daughter, right? And I'm pretty sure, I mean, obviously he's done really trash things to her as well. And like I said, I could definitely see that. But like reality on Earth, there's always more than one thing that could be true at once. So this isn't really to like villainize one person or, you know, say she's wrong or whatever the case may be. It just is what it is, y'all. But I do see like brattiness, a certain level of entitledness that could even come from her end, or where she may not be that good with money. And that could be something else, especially with her Mars and Leo squaring his Venus. So like him being kind of skeptical about like giving her more money or like safeguarding, you know, his money and stuff like that. Or, you know, I can kind of see that happening, like him getting at her or picking at her or nagging her, even when we think about that Saturn square Mercury, about like her choices and what she does. And some of these things could be typical parent shit, but I definitely feel like it could get super toxic, hella toxic, especially as it pertains to him putting a lot of pressure on her about other stuff and how he goes about handling her, you know. He also has his Mars and Libra conjoined to her Venus. That's another aspect that could put her under pressure to be in the middle. Or where if he can't get access to her, he's going to go through other people to get to her. And I think she even said that, like, he contacts her boyfriend, and that makes a lot of sense. Like, him going through her boyfriend, or if she were to get married, like her spouse. And, you know, so, I mean, there's that. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this video here. I made it long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the dynamic of their relationship in the comment section below. And I will catch y'all in the next video. If you are interested in booking your own Synastry natal chart reading, feel free to contact me at AstroWorld. That's AstroWerld@gmail.com. And we can get you squared away on today. And until the next video, I will catch you guys later. Bye.